We can use the area model to divide, such as 2,152 divided by 4. So the thing about the area model that we have to understand if we're doing 2,152 divided by 4 is this would be our area. Our whole would be the area. So it's whole divided by part equals part. So we're dividing by the side width, and that is going to tell us our unknown side length. So this unknown is going to be that side length. So here is my rectangle. This would be our length and our width. So 4 would be our width, and then we are looking for this unknown length. To start, we have to know what we would put as our area inside of each of these boxes. We can go ahead and label that this is going to be a side length of 4. Now, what helps me to determine how I'm going to decompose this 2,152 is to know my multiples of 4. So you'll see that I already have my first 9 multiples of 4 on here. And I only need the first 9 because once I have the first 9, then I have 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s. For example, 4 times 10 would be 40. It's right there. And then 4 times 20 would be 80, right? So I'm going to take this 2,152 and I'm going to decompose it. Now I could decompose it by place value if each individual place value can be divided by 4. Now unfortunately 2 cannot be divided by 4 and get a whole number. 50, because that 5 actually means 50, cannot be divided by 4 and get a whole number. So we can use these multiplication facts over here to help us determine what numbers we could use. Now, since I see this 4 times 5 is 20, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to decompose this into 2,000. Since 4 times 5 is 20, then I know that 4 times, and I'm going to add 2 zeros to the 20 to make 2,000, then 2 zeros to the 5 to make 500. So then 4 times 500 would be 2,000. So I can take 2,000 and I can divide 2,000 by 4. So far I've decomposed it into 2,000. Now, what you don't see is the number 10. However, because I do know my multiplication facts, I know that 4 can go into 100 here because it's a combination of 2 of these together. So 25, right, quarters. 4 times 25 is 100. But if I didn't know that, what I can do is I can decompose this number right here, the 1 and the 5, would be the number 150, right? This is in the hundreds and this is in the tens. So that would be 150. So as I'm looking over here, if I add a 0 to these, I notice that 4 times 30 is 120 and 4 times 40 is 160. So I can decompose this part into 120 plus 30. So that together makes that 150. And what I can actually do is I can then combine 30. I notice, I should say 32, is not on here. So it goes 28, 32, 36, not 30. But I have this 2 right here, so I can put these 2 back together and make that 32. So now I've decomposed it into 2,120 and 32 divided by 4. Okay, I could have done it differently. I could have taken this 2,152, right? I could have, decomposed this 2,152 into 2,000 and 100. And then instead of 52, I could have, 4 times 10 is 40. So I could have broken this 52 into 40 and 12. So the total will add up to 2,152. These four numbers, 2,140 and 12 is 2,152. And it doesn't really matter. I could make an area model for this way because 2,120 and 32 add up to 2,152, or I could make an area model where I have 2,000 divided by 4 plus 100 divided by 4 plus 40 divided by 4 or 12 divided by 4. So I could use either one of these. There's other options out there. We just need to make sure that this dividend can be divided by 4. So as long as this dividend can be divided by 4, I can decompose 2,152 into multiple ways. We're going to go ahead and use this way since this is set up into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. And so what I've done is I've taken my 2,152 and I've decomposed it into 2,000 plus 100 plus 40 plus 12. And I'm going to divide each of those individually by 4. Now remember, this is my area. So this is going to be my area 2,000, my area 100, my area 40, my area 12. And then I'm trying to figure out what are these unknown side lengths, or what would I multiply times 4 to get 2,000, to get 100, to get 40, to get 12. So that's why having these multiples on the side are really helpful. I already used it to figure out that 4 times 500 would be 2,000. So I just looked at that 20, I added 2 zeros. So that means I have to add 2 zeros here. I can double check, right? This means 4 groups of 500. So that'd be 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. So 4 groups of 500 does in fact equal 2,000. So if this side length is 4, or width, then the side length right here would have to be 500. So if this width here, right, is going to be the same as this width here, so I know that that is, a width of 4. So now I'm trying to think 4 times what number would be 100. And thinking about quarters, I know that 4 quarters makes 100 cents or $1. So that'd be 4 times 25. So 25, 50, 75, 100. 4 groups of 25 is 100. So then this little length piece would have to be a length of 25, so that this 25 by 4 is our area of 100. So now I've moved on. Again, if this width is 4, then this width is 4, and this width has to be 4. And I'm thinking 4 times what would be 40? Luckily right here, I already have 4 times 10 is 40. So that means that this unknown length up top would have to be 10. And then on the last one, I'm trying to think 4 times what is 12? So then 4 times, right here, 4 times 3 is 12. That's why I have it written there. So I don't have to think too hard. And then this would be a 3 here. So now I want to see what would be the entire length of the rectangle. Well, the entire length of the rectangle would be 500 plus 25 plus 10 plus 3. So I have to think this entire length would be these 4 added together. And that would be, these two would be 525 plus 10 more would be 535 plus 3 more is 538. So what did I multiply times 4 to get 2,152? 538. So then 2,152 divided by 4 would be 538.